Good afternoon, class. I am Angel Miss Adcor. I am your presenter for today, or instructor for today, and today we will discuss the 12 principles of animation. But before we proceed to our discussion, let's go have a prayer first. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. As what I've said, we will discuss the 12 principles of animation. But before we proceed to the principles of animation, let's go first know what is animation. So animation is a method of photographing successive drawings, models, or even puppets to create an illusion of movement, to create a sequence. Just like the Toy Story, which is the first animated movie that was created. And also there are types of animation. First is the traditional animation, or where it is the drawn animation in which the artist literally had to draw 1,000 of images and then photograph it in frame by frame to create an animation on it. Secondly is the 2D animation, which is based on a vector and it is simply an advantage. So next is the 3D animation, in which it operates different principles and is more akin to puppetry than the traditional animation. Next is the motion graphics. Motion graphics involves motion graphics elements such as text or logos. Then, the last one is the stop motion, in which instead of a drawing, it uses a clay models or a set to carefully manipulated to produce an animation. So let's go to our first principles of animation, which is the squash and stretch. So what is a squash and stretch? So squash and stretch is the most fundamental of all principles of animation. Just for example, this is a ball, and this, my hand, is represent the ground. When the ball touches or hits the ground, it squashes and it widens. The object widens to maintain its volume, and then after that, it stretched and gave an elastic movement of the ball. That is a squash and stretch. Just look for this example. When it touches the ground, it squashes to maintain its volume, as what I've said. And then it bounces and go elastic, just like this. Just like that. You can see it squash and then it stretch. The anticipation. So what is anticipation? Anticipation is the preparation of the main action. It is where you have to anticipate to create the action, to prepare the action. Just like, for example, for this. As you can see, the anticipation here is when he go like this, and without the anticipation, his arm is just like this. When the anticipation goes in, it goes like this. Then he grabs his lollipop. So the third principle is the staging. So what is staging? Staging is the most overlooked principles. It directs the audience attention. It is where the animation purpose is to get the attention of the audience. Just like, for example, for this, he is making a magical thingy so that the attention of the audience can get to him, and so that they can watch what will happen to what he is doing. Our fourth principles of animation is the straight ahead and pose to pose. So what is a straight ahead and pose to pose? So the straight ahead is where you draw each frame of an action, while the pose to pose is you have to draw the action of to the beginning up to the end. And also in the pose to pose, you draw the extreme actions of the action. And Also to the post to post, you have the control of over the action, in which you have to draw it neat and clean so it will be greatly seen. Just for example, just like this. You have to draw frame by frame so that in, if you will go to the control enter to that, it will be greatly seen and be neatly seen. Fifth principles of animation is the follow through and overlapping actions. So what is follow through and overlapping action? So when a moving object such as a person comes to a stop, parts might continue to move in the same direction because of the force of forward momentum. It is where when you move, there is a follow through in that, and also there is also a happening of an overlapping to the action. Just like this example. It is where this is the follow through. And then also this, it has also the follow through and it gets overlap the hair to this. Pause of animation is the ease in and ease out. So what is ease out? For example, a car. The car doesn't move right away. It accelerates first, and which is steady speed, so that it can move to its desired speed. And then the ease in also is, just for example, when a car stops, the car doesn't stop right away. It accelerates first and then move a little forward. Then after that many seconds, it will be stopped steadily. And that's what you call the easy. Just like for example, do this. It accelerates first, and after it is not stopped readily. The seventh principles of animation is the arcs. So what is arcs? The animation also doesn't move only in a straight lines. It also involved in the circular paths called the arcs. Also the arcs operate along curved trajectories that adds the illusion of life to an animated object in an action. So the arcs gives the life also in an action or the action of the object. Also without arcs, your animation would be stiff and mechanical. It is also just like a simple and just like no life because it has no arcs. Just for example, it gives the life of the object. Our eighth principles of animation is the secondary action. It is where it has a secondary action to its first movement. Just like the example for this. He said, and his secondary movement is when he put his hand onto his eyes. Ninth principles of animation is the timing. So timing is about where on the timeline you put each frame of action. Just like in a squash and stretch, when the ball hits the ground, it only squashes then. It is also the timing when the ball only touches the ground, the ball squashes, and that is timing. As for example, this thing. This thing stops in an end, only in an end, and also it is called the timing because it only end and it only stopped in the end. So we are here now in our 10th principles of animation, which is the exaggeration. So exaggeration is the the presenting of a character's features and action in an extreme form for comedic or dramatic effects. So it can have also the appeal of a character and enhance also the storytelling of the animation. Just for example, this one. As you can see, it is very exaggerated because a small thing can be done and become a monster with eat only small thing. Our 11th principles of animation is the solid drawing. The solid drawing is all about making sure that animated forms feel like they're in a 3D dimensional space. So the 3D is the three-dimensional space can be seen in a solid drawing. Just for example, like this. The top, the front, and the side is clearly seen. It is the example of a solid drawing. So our 12 principles of animation is the appeal. Appeal is when the animated characters should be pleasing to look and have a charismatic aspect to them. This even applies to antagonists of the story. Also, the appeal can be hard to quantify because everyone has a different standard. That said, you can give your character a better chance of being appealing by making them attractive to look at. So the appeal is where your animated video should be attractive to your audience and can give the character a better look to the audience. So these 12 principles of animation that I have discussed is very important to all. It can be applied in your desired animated video or whatever you will make an animated video. So again, I am Angel Eunice Adcor, your presenter for today, and that will be all. Thank you.